All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our first group-wide training for 2024. It is January 9th. Happy New Year. I know we're a little over a week into the new year already. I wanted to do this training as early in the month as possible because I want this to kind of be like a reset, restart, brand new year. Put 2023 behind you, whether it was amazing or not quite amazing. It's in the past. We're going to learn from the things that maybe were mistakes or things that didn't work out, and we're going to grow from those, and we're going to learn from the things that did work out, and we're going to just like jet propel ourselves through 2024, because I can guarantee you guys 2024 is going to be a big year. Okay, Scentsy is turning 20 this year. Heidi and Orville are coming back this summer, which for those of you who are new, which I'm looking at the participant list, and I know a lot of you guys that are on here are new, and you haven't even really encountered Heidi and Orville in this as Scentsy. I cannot wait for them to come back. They've been on their mission for almost 3 years, and we miss them dearly. And you're in for a treat when you get to experience a month end or a SFR keynote from them. They're just really special people, and I'm really excited that they're back this year. But all in all, like, Scensy's turning 20, so you know they're going to pull out all the stops. They're going to make things super special for us. We've got a lot of things that are on the horizon. And it starts now. Okay. So I actually was going to do this training next week to give myself more time to kind of prep for it. But then I got to talking to Jamie, and I was like, you know what? We need to do this earlier in the month so that we can just get going. And I am going to do my darndest this year to get a training in for you guys every single month. I've got some topics picked out already based on things that I see in the group in terms of topics that people want to hear about, that want some help with, that they're struggling with. And those are the things that we're going to work on. Tonight, we're going back to basics. Okay. And I'm going like all the way back. So I'm going to do a quick little intro. I'm going to have Jamie do a quick little intro. I think we're the only two leaders that are on here tonight. I'm looking really quick. So we're going to do quick little intros, and then you guys, like I said, we're talking about basics. And so some of this might be redundant for you if you've been around a little while, but I also want to utilize those of you, like I see Krista, I see Becky, those of you guys who have been around for a little while. I want you guys to chime in the chat or unmute yourself or whatever as we're talking about some of these things. If you have tips or ideas or I wish I would have known type things that might help out a newer consultant, because this is being recorded, and I know we have a ton of new consultants that joined like in 2023 that might still be struggling with some things. And so I wanted to start at the very beginning in January, and then we're going to dive into a lot of different things throughout the year. I want to do at least one training a month. I will bring in some guest speakers. If anybody ever wants to talk about something, please let me know, because I know that you guys don't want to hear from me all the time. And other people coming in and helping us learn about topics and stuff is always a great thing.
Sorry, while we're on this topic.
Yes.
Or even going live.
Hold on.
Okay.
Okay, keep talking.
Can you hear me now?
I can. You're just muffled. It's weird.
Oh, sorry. It might be because I have my headphone in. Or if you want to go live in the Wax Bars group, feel free anytime. That's not just for any of us. That's to any of you guys if you want to go live and share anything.
Yes, 100%. That group is open. It's like open mic, right? I mean, if you are working on something and you want to share it, just go live. You don't have to ask beforehand. You don't have to schedule it. Just do it. I don't get on live a lot because I don't typically, now that my husband works from home, I don't typically have a lot of quiet time during the day. So I don't get on live a lot during the day. And then in the evening, it just gets crazy with the kids home. But I try to go live when I can, or at least share pictures or videos, but anytime you want. I know Jillian's really great about it. Lauren's really great about it, going live when they're working on something or they have something to share, but that's for anybody. So it doesn't matter if you're new, you've got ideas, and we're here for that. So anytime you want to do that, please feel free. All right, so quick intros. My name is Kim. I am your Superstar Director. I may also be your director and or your sponsor, but I might not be. I am your Superstar Director, yes, for everybody that's on here. But I might also be your sponsor and your director, or Jamie may be your director, or you may be under Hope, or Leah, or Candace. Okay, so we've got Hope, Jamie, Leah, and Candace are directors, and then I'm the superstar director. There could potentially be a star director in there. We don't have any in this group yet, but we're going to talk a little bit about the cadence and the titles. But so if you get like text messages from me or you have no idea who I am, this is me introducing myself if you don't know who I am. So I am your superstar director. I oversee basically the entire Wax Bars and Superstars group, family of teams. I know each of the directors have their own team with their own team name. I've been doing Scentsy since 2015.
Oh, that's mine.
December 16th, 2015 is when I joined Scentsy. It was 2 days before Christmas cutoff. So if you know how December was and everyone was scrambling at the last minute to get orders in before Christmas cutoff, that was me, brand spanking new. Did my launch party the day that I joined. Scared to death. I joined because I was feeling guilty about spending money because I wasn't working. I'm a mom of triplets, if you don't know. They are 10 and a half now. They were 2.5 when I started. So I've been doing this for 8 years, but I was at home with them and I wasn't working, and that wasn't normal for me. I had worked since I was 16 years old. And even though I was saving us tons of money by not working and not having to put them in daycare, I felt super guilty if I wanted to buy something for myself. And that was all self-inflicted. My husband never did that. It was me. But I felt really guilty. And so I threw around ideas and talked to my sponsor quite a bit. And finally was like, I'm just going to give it a try and see what happens, right? I can do it online because I'm a major introvert, you guys. I say I don't like people, which is a terrible thing to say because it's not 100% true, but I'm an introvert. And so I didn't want to go do home parties. I didn't want to do stuff like that. I loved the fact that I could do it online. And so I decided to join. I had my husband press the join button for me because that meant that if I failed, it was his fault because he signed me up and I could just blame him. It was all good. I had, quite honestly, very low expectations. I didn't think that I was going to even be able to remain active. When I joined, the requirement was you had to get your 200 in sales once out of every 3 months. And I thought for sure, like I joined in December. I was like, by March, I hope I can make $100 a month from now until March, because then I'm going to be done, because I just am not going to be good at this. And here I am 8 years later, tippy top of the compensation plan. Bless it, because I don't even know sometimes how I got here. But I love it just as much today, if not more, probably more than I did when I first started. So you know how you felt super excited when you first started and you're like, oh, I'm doing this and I'm getting these things and whatever. I still feel that way 8 years later. So long story short, I have been through good seasons. I've been through rough seasons. I went through the COVID pandemic hypergrowth where we were really, really scared in March of 2020, and people were ditching their businesses because they were convinced that people weren't going to be spending any money because people were getting laid off and they were out of work. And we thought, I mean, people were really, really like doomsday prepping for like Scentsy to really suffer. And it was the exact opposite for us. I mean, we had explosive major hyper growth. I was making sales like I had never envisioned. And then things started to level off. And when things started to level off, then we panicked again because we were so used to a year and a half of high PRV and lots of recruiting, lots of people joining. And then when things started to level off again, we panicked because that wasn't happening anymore. And sales were getting a little bit more difficult and recruiting was getting a little bit more difficult. People were going back to their normal jobs in their offices and things like that. And so I've been through a lot of seasons. And the key to remaining successful in this business is that you stay the course and you stay consistent regardless of what season you're in. Okay. So before I get into all of like the other stuff that I want to talk about, I want to give Jamie a couple minutes to share a little bit of her story with you guys. And then we're going to talk about just some basics of the business and how you can kind of really stick your heels in right now at the beginning of a brand new year and make it a great one. So Jamie, you can unmute and I'm going to spotlight you while you chat.
You know, I love to be spotlighted.
Yay!
So I have kind of a different story than Kim. So I'm not married. I I went to my first home party shortly before I bought my house back in 2016. So I think it was May of 2016. And I had never tried Scentsy before that. And I had gone to this home party and I bought 2 warmers and 3 wax bars. Cream tulip shade was the one that went in my living room, and baked apple pie was the first scent I warmed. So I joined in May, and then I bought from a party that Kim was hosting in June. And then I kind of had tossed around the idea of joining because I had just bought a house. My house, I have 2 dogs. My house was built in 1910, so it's an older home, needed fixing. And so Kim had, I don't even think she approached me. I think I just approached her in July of 2016. And then I went to a bacon event. I think it was bacon night. And then I decided to join in August. So I had only known Scentsy for 3 months. And then I decided to go on this crazy journey. I hit director in September of 2021. I also, like Kim, was like, oh, I'll hit active every 3 months. What's that face? Did I hit director in 2020?
2020, right?
Has it
Yeah,
been that
because
long?
yeah, 2020.
Okay.
2020.
Well, I was trying to look and then you put me on the spot because I was trying to go back through my feed. Anyway, 2020. I'm going to fact check that in a minute. So then I have only had 1 month that I have not had 200 PRV in my entire almost 8 years of Scentsy. Now that I'm a leader, I have to have 500 PRV. And so I've always had that ever since I had a team. Otherwise I don't get as much out of the compensation plan as I could. The thing that I love most about Scentsy is the friendships that I've created. I had no idea who Kim was. She was some lady who lived an hour and a half away from me. I didn't even know who she was when I joined. And I feel like that's how most of the plans goes. A lot of times you don't necessarily know your sponsor. But I am so grateful for Scentsy and everything that it's brought me. Kim and I have not killed each other after these almost 8 years, even after being stuck in a car for 36 hours together, driving home from Salt Lake City after SFR and our flights got canceled. So we drove back. But I am just so thankful for the friendships. Like I said, I have some of my best friends that I ever have. I have a constant group chat going with some ladies on our team that I talk to every day. I go for advice. So for me, Scentsy's family. Scentsy is the friendships that you make and the opportunities that it presents as we go on. I know it's kind of been a rough spell the last couple of months, but as long as we continue the course, we go back to our basics, it'll be okay. I have a feeling that 2024 is going to be a great year for us. It's going to, like Kim said, Heidi and Orville are back, and I am pumped for that. So I'm hoping that SFR, after you go to World Tour, for those of you who haven't been there, it's kind of eye-opening and it's just like a mini SFR. And so I'm hoping that we can have as many able to go to Orlando in July as we can. But yeah, I'm always here. I'm always a message or a text away. And I'm glad that you guys are on this journey with us, and thank you for being on tonight. So, and that's that. I don't know what else to say.
And that's that. Okay, so let me put the spotlight back on myself. All right, so yes, Jamie is correct. We had to drive home from SFR in 2022. Yeah, in Salt Lake City because our flights were canceled and they wanted to put us on new flights the following day.
Because
and
I
so
jinxed
Jamie
us.
and I, what?
Because I jinxed us.
Yeah, it was Jamie's fault. It was Jamie and I, and then Jackie, another teamie that we have. And Jamie said, we should just rent a car and drive. And I was like, you're crazy. And that's what we did. So we rented a car and we drove from Salt Lake City all the way back to Michigan. But that's one of the things, like she said, like it's one of the experiences that none of us would have ever had. I never would have driven across the country with two, not strangers, but I mean like after an event, like I would have never done that if it weren't for Scentsy. For me, Scentsy is about freedom and flexibility. And by freedom, I mean I am able to live life on my terms, really. I had been a preschool teacher for 6 years up until this school year. And some things happened at our preschool, and I decided not to go back. And I was grateful that I had Scentsy because I would have had to go find another job. Scentsy is my full-time job, and preschool was more just for fun and extra money. And that when I just got back to that, I was grateful that I had Scentsy because I had something that I could fall back on. And it allows me to work when I work, and it allows me to not work when I work or when the kids have an event or a function. And so whatever it is that Scentsy is for you, we want to. Is this freezing, Jamie? Is it?
See, now
keeps
it's because
telling
you
me my
changed
internet.
yourself.
What? I know. Okay. It seems okay now, but it was like I could tell it was freezing. So I don't know. My computer made a weird noise and whatever. But anyways, I don't remember what I was saying. But whatever it is that you want Scentsy to do for you, we are here to help you make that happen. We can't do the work for you. We can't find the customers for you. We can't book the parties for you. We can't do the recruiting for you. But we're here to give you the tools and share the other tools that are already out there for all of us with you guys so that you can be as successful as possible. Whatever success looks like for you. If Superstar Director isn't something that you're interested in, that's totally fine. If you really just want to do this for a little bit of extra money and you don't have a desire to grow a large business, that's totally fine. But quite honestly, I didn't want to do that either. And you would be surprised at how many people in leadership roles in Scentsy, whether it's director, star director, superstar director, had no intentions on doing what they're doing when they first started, and it just kind of evolves. But whatever success looks like for you right now, we're here to help you with that. And if that changes as you go along, then we're here to help you with that too. But I want to start really with some basics because I feel like it's very easy to get overwhelmed. We have a large group. We have 300 people, roughly 300 people in our group. There's things being shared all the time. There's posts being made all the time. It's very, very easy to get overwhelmed and kind of almost like shut down. And so I want to start with just some real basic stuff to kind of lay the groundwork for what this business looks like and where you can go with it. It doesn't matter whether you are a brand new consultant, like within the last month, or if you've been around for 10 years or 20 years. There's never a bad time to like just kind of say, hang on a second, I need to start over. Because as I said, it's very easy to get overwhelmed, especially when a lot of things are being shared and you kind of feel like, oh gosh, she shared this, I should be doing that. Oh gosh, someone shared this, I should be doing that. She went live and said she's doing this, I need to do that too. Because you don't. And you have to get yourself to understand that. And I don't want to limit what we share in the group because it's kind of like a cookbook, right? Like you get a cookbook that can be this thick and there's thousands and thousands of recipes in it, right? Very easy to get overwhelmed if you just open that cookbook and be like, what am I going to make today? And there's every dish under the planet in there. But if you start thinking about what you have on hand, what ingredients do you have on hand? How good of a cook are you? I need to look for a basic recipe and I only have these 3 things. And so you kind of go through that cookbook and you pick out and you start whittling down and then you pick out the things that work for you. And that's what I want you guys to do in our group because yes, there's going to be lots and lots of things shared, but please don't feel like you need to be doing everything. I'm not even doing all of the things that I'm sharing. If I'm grabbing something from another director, it's just because I think it's a great idea and I want to share it. It doesn't mean that I'm doing it. So we don't want you guys to get overwhelmed. And I know that that's easy, but you have to be the one that says to yourself, it's okay if I don't do this or I don't do that. Okay. Especially if you're starting to feel overwhelmed and maybe suffocated by some of the things that get shared in the group. They are just ideas. Treat it like a buffet, go up, take what you want, leave the rest. You might come back in 6 months and be looking for a different idea, and it might strike your fancy then. But I don't want you guys to get overwhelmed. And I think it's just natural because we do have so many people that are sharing, but just remember, you don't have to do all of the things. There's so many things that I did when I first joined Sensi that I look back now and I don't regret it per se, but I know now that it wasn't necessary. And I didn't have, I mean, I have good leadership, but I didn't have someone saying to me, just do this, right? I saw cute samples and cute wax molds, and I saw cute this and cute that, and I was buying all of these things, and you guys, it doesn't matter. Okay. And we're going to talk about a lot of this stuff in more detail when we get on other topics, but I just want you to know that you do not have to be doing everything that everybody else is doing. Don't compare your journey to theirs. Remember, we've got people in our group that have been around for, there might even be people in the group that have been around longer than me that like have reinstated. But at least 8 years, right? You've got a big gap. You've got brand new people and people up to 8 years that are in the group. So we're all in different places in our business. All right. So core values of Sensi. We have 3 core values: simplicity, authenticity, and generosity. Okay. I want to talk a little bit about the simplicity portion of that because, again, we're going back to basics. We're peeling back all of the layers of Sensi and we're talking about what the business is. We're going to give you kind of a roadmap of what it looks like and then just talk a little bit about the resources that we have. Okay. I want to talk about titles. All right. So I did a poll last week, I think it was, in the group, and I asked you guys what your title was. And it wasn't like a quiz. Like I didn't think anyone didn't know what their titles were. I really just wanted to kind of see the makeup of what we have in the group, because for me to look at a big long report, it's difficult for me to kind of pick out and see like almost pie graph what the makeup of the group is. And we have a lot of essential certified and lead consultants, which is probably normal, right? I think most of this stuff kind of takes that bell curve, right? Like the most of what you have, the makeup of your group is going to be kind of in that middle section. You're going to have a few new people, little more people that have been around for a little while, and then you've got this big chunk of people who are in those middle titles, and then you've got your leadership titles that are a little bit less saturated, right? So Sensi only has 8 titles in our entire compensation plan. 8, that's it. I've never been a part of another direct sales company, but I actually did a little bit of digging, like just on Google. And I know some other people who have been in a lot in other direct sales companies, network marketing companies, and some of them have some super complicated, very in-depth, layered up compensation plans with like 15 to 20 different titles and like legs and all kinds of things. That's very complicated. Now, I know that to a newer consultant, our compensation plan might feel complicated, but it really isn't. And I was going to share my screen, but I forgot to pull the thing up. But you can see our compensation plan in the workstation. But it's very simple, you guys. We have 8 titles. We have essential consultant, certified, lead, star, and superstar. And then you have your leadership titles, which are director, star director, superstar director. That's it. There's no like subtitles in there and extra all these things that can be very complicated. It's very straightforward. Okay. And why is it important for you to know what your title is and what the other titles are in the business? Is because it gives you a roadmap. Okay. No matter where you are, whether you're an essential consultant or a lead consultant or a director, the tippy top or the far end of the compensation plan, superstar director, really isn't that far, regardless of where you are, because we don't have a gazillion hoops to jump through like some companies do. We have 8 titles. That's it. Okay. So it doesn't matter where you are right now, whatever title you're looking to go to, and it could just be the very next one. right? You don't have to be shooting for superstar director right now. If you're a certified consultant right now and you just want to hit lead, you need to know what you need to do to get there. We're not going to go into super detailed compensation plan training tonight because that's a whole nother whatever elephant to chew, or however they say that. But we've done compensation plan training in here before. We've got it on the YouTube channel. I can link it for you guys. There's also other consultants that have done compensation plan training, and there's really good compensation plan training in the workstation, actually. And theirs is probably the cleanest because it doesn't have all the extra rambling that consultants usually do, aka me. So we're not going to dive into the compensation plan training, but I want you guys to know that it's not complicated. It's not difficult. It's not really robust. It's very simple. Having only 8 titles from day one when you start until the top of the compensation plan is pretty amazing, honestly. And it's simple, right? Which is what we're going for. So knowing what those titles are kind of gives you a path to work towards, and it gives you goals to set. So as you're going through your business and you're growing, you know what you need to be working on to hit the next title. And so you have goals in front of you that you can work toward. And that's another training that we're going to do too, because a lot of times I'll post in the group, what are your goals for this month? And people don't have any. And not everybody, but I'm just saying, sometimes people are like, well, I don't really have a PRV goal. Well, then what's getting you up in the morning? What's pushing you to work? If you don't have a goal in mind, what are you working toward, right? So goal setting is super important. That's another thing that I have written down to talk about, and how to do that, what we need to be shooting for. But I want you guys to be just cognizant of where you are in that graph of the compensation plan, or the tiers and the titles of Scentsy, where you are right now, where you're looking to go. Like I said, it might just be the very next level, and that's totally fine. I mean, you really do need to be doing it level by level, but if you don't even have like a long-term vision of hitting director, star director, superstar director, that's okay. As you grow, your vision is going to grow, your business is going to grow, and those things are going to come naturally. Okay. So I wanted to start with that because I really just wanted you to see that from the core of Scentsy, everything is very simple. And we as consultants tend to muddle things and make things more complicated than they need to be sometimes. But it really isn't that difficult and that complex. And so if we remember that when we're going through seasons where we're feeling a little bit overwhelmed, and be like, wait a minute, it shouldn't be like this. It's okay to scale it back, and it's okay to do the basics. And I don't want to say it's okay to do the bare minimum, because I don't like to do the bare minimum, because the bare minimum isn't going to grow anybody. But know that you don't have to be doing all kinds of extra things. Okay. Let's talk a little bit about resources. All right. Our group page is a very good resource for questions, answers, ideas, tips, news, articles, information from home office. But I will tell you this, I am human. I have children who are in activities, and I have commitments and all kinds of things. And so nobody should be relying on me to give them all of the information that's out there. Okay. And what I mean by that is that usually what I'm doing is just copying something from the workstation because I'm on there. I'm going to copy it, throw it in the group to help you guys out. But if you're doing nothing on a regular basis yet, the very first thing that you should be doing is checking your workstation every single day. Every single day. Okay. Typically we get news articles in terms of launches on Thursdays. So you absolutely should be checking it on Thursday, because that's when news of new products or new launches are coming out the following week. But we've been having other news article things popping up on different days. They update the product status list. There's a lot of stuff in there that I don't want you sitting in the group page waiting for me to come and share it, right? It's up to you to go there and get the information. Okay. Workstation is kind of like the end all be all, right? I might share something and go, hey, I heard about this, but let's wait for a news article to come out, because what's on Workstation is like gospel. What I say in the group is like a sermon, right? It's like my opinion, it's my words. But Workstation is a place that you need to be checking every single day. Okay. Use the group page, ask questions there. It's totally fine. But I typically would love to see people go to the Workstation first because 99% of the answers are going to be found there. And I realize sometimes it's a little bit hard to navigate, but if you try and you can't find an answer, absolutely go to the group. Okay. The other thing that I want to make sure we understand is the chain of command within the team itself. Okay. You have yourself, right? You have your sponsor. If you need support, not necessarily just a question answer type thing, but if you're working on something and you need help and you need support and you need guidance, that's what your sponsor is responsible for. Okay. Start there. All right. Go to your sponsor and say, hey, I'm struggling with this, or I need an idea. I have this idea. Let me bounce it off of you. Or can you help me understand XYZ? Okay. Go to your sponsor. If your sponsor isn't responsive, gosh, all of these words sound the same. If your sponsor isn't responsive or isn't giving you the kind of support that you need to be successful, it's okay to go up the chain to your director. Okay. But let's give the sponsor an opportunity to help and to guide because that's part of what their job is. I mean, if we want to call it a job. But I also understand that there are people whose sponsors are not active or are gone and you've rolled up to somebody else and maybe you don't really know that person, right? Like if your sponsor went inactive and was terminated or left voluntarily and you've rolled up to that person's sponsor, you might not even know them. Okay. It's okay to go up the chain if you're not getting the kind of support that you need, but always start at that first level because that person deserves an opportunity to help. So go to your sponsor first. If you're not getting the support that you need from your sponsor, go to your director. Loop in your director even. Do like a three-way chat and be like, hey, I'm trying to get some help on XYZ. Do you have any advice for us? Okay. If you're not getting that feedback or that guidance from your director, then you can come up to me. Okay. And I'm not saying that because I don't want to help people. It's not that at all. But like I said, I want to give everyone who's leading, even just one consultant, an opportunity to do just that. I want to give them the opportunity to lead and to guide the way that they've been shown. And then if that isn't working, or if there's for whatever reason isn't working, then you go up the chain. Okay. Your line of support does not stop at your sponsor, but it doesn't start at me, if that makes sense, right? Go up the chain, but your line of support goes beyond me. Okay. If you're working with me and you don't like the way that I do things, that's totally fine. I will give you Laura Godwin's number and you can call her and she will be more than happy to help you. Although Laura and I are very much alike. So if you don't like the way that I lead, you might not like the way she leads either. But guess what? There's people above her too. Okay. What I'm getting at is that your line of support does not end basically at all. Okay. The support is far and wide in this business. And I get inspiration and support from people that aren't even under our umbrella. And that will come from going to events. You'll get that too. That'll come from going to events because you'll meet people who are in Scentsy who are maybe at the same point in their journey as you, but they're not on this team. That's okay. Nothing says you can't befriend another consultant who's not on your team. I have tons and tons and tons of Scentsy consultant friends that are not on this team. Once you hit director, if you get an opportunity to go to director boot camp, you're going to meet lots of consultants that you can create a community with. I have a really great community of boot camp people that I went with, and we also have a very small group chat with a few of us that really work together on a lot of things. So you've got support all over, but I just want to make sure that everybody understands that there is still a chain of command. And I don't want to be stepping on Jamie's toes. If Jamie's your director and you're having issues, go to Jamie. And if Jamie needs me to step in and help, or if Jamie needs to come to me to get some help to help you, she will do that. It's kind of like a spider web. Everybody is kind of intertwined, but we have to start in one spot and we have to give everybody the opportunity to lead and guide. Okay. Consultant support, Jamie said too. Consultant support is a great resource. Now, sometimes they don't have the answers, and that's okay. They have a lot of answers, but sometimes they don't have answers. And if you go to consultant support and you're not able to get an answer, then you can go to your sponsor and say, hey, I checked with consultant support and they couldn't help me. Do you know anything? And if your sponsor can't help, your sponsor can go to your director and your director can come to me. And it all kind of, it follows that same cadence regardless, okay? So you've got Workstation as a resource. You have consultant support as a resource. Consultant support chat is like my favorite thing ever, because if you've known me for more than a minute, I do not get on the phone unless it's absolutely necessary. So consultant support chat is like the greatest thing since sliced bread, and I'm on there all the time. But you can also submit a ticket a lot of times, like over the holiday or on a weekend. If something comes up, I submit a ticket because Lord knows my brain won't remember Monday morning what I needed to ask support on Friday night. So support ticket, email, call, chat, whatever. They are there to help. There was something else consultant support, Workstation, group page. Jamie unmuted, so she has something to say. She's gonna help me.
This might be where you're going, I'm not sure. We might ask you, your first question is, have you checked the Workstation? And we don't do that as like we don't want to help you. We want you to try to find that source first, because we all started where you started. Like, we've all had to do what you do. We have the knowledge that we have because we've been in your shoes. But also remember, like, I've been doing this almost 8 years. I don't remember what it's like to be a new consultant anymore. So I can help guide you and help direct you. But just remember, we are saying it from a place of love when we say, have you checked the Workstation first? It's not just to pass you off or to figure it out. We want to give you that chance to kind of self-guide, learn as well, to see where do you need to find things when you can't get a quick answer, because most of the time it is there and it just takes a little bit of digging. And then if you come to me with a question, I'm going to go to Workstation and find the answer for it most of the time. So don't get offended if we ask you to have you checked the Workstation yet. Okay.
Well, and hand in hand with that is that you have to also consider down the road, when you have new team members as well, who are coming to you with those same questions, you want to be able to lead them and empower them to find the answers themselves. And so if you get used to just going to Jamie and saying, hey, what is this? How much is this? How much does this cost? What day does this launch? What's launching today? Those kinds of questions. If you're just going to her and getting the answers, you can't lead your team because you don't have the answers to empower them to go find those answers themselves, right? And you don't want to spend all of your time going back to Workstation and finding answers for people, because that's not income producing, and we all need to be doing income producing things. And so by her or me, whoever, your leader, saying, go check Workstation, or it's in the training section, search XYZ, and you'll find it. Typically, we're going to point you in the direction that you need to go. We're not just going to be like, well, I don't know, right? But in lieu of giving you the answer, we're going to teach you and show you how to find something, so that in turn, when someone else comes to you and asks you that question, you can do the same for them. Because as your team grows, you guys, you're not going to be able to be answering every single question. I have almost 300 people in my group. If I answered every question that ever came to me, I would never get anything else done. Okay. And it's pretty cool when you have a question and you go to the Workstation and the answer's there and you're like, oh, cool, I don't have to bug anybody. You know what I mean? Like, it feels good, right? And so you want to be able to give that to other people too. Okay. So like Jamie said, it's not like we're trying to pass people off or not being helpful, but it's more of these resources are out there. And I know that sometimes it's easier for you to just type it out and say, you know, how much is the new buddy that's launching on Monday? You can type that to me and wait for an answer, or you can type it in Workstation and have the answer immediately, because the news article is going to pop up and it's going to be right there. Right. And what if I give you the wrong information? Then I feel terrible. Right. So like she said, it's not because we're trying to be mean or, you know, push you off on something else, but it really is a teaching tool. And the resources that we have are so abundant that we want you guys to be self-sufficient. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of, and again, it's something that can be very easily overwhelming, but if you really just go in there and play around, you cannot break your workstation, I promise you. If you could, I would have done it 7 years ago, but you can't. Play around with reporting, play around with all kinds of stuff in there. All right, so I've got, gosh, 15 more minutes, and I have like a lot of stuff still listed, but that's okay. I'm gonna scale it back. I just want to talk a little bit. Jamie, do you have anything else you want to add in at this point?
No, Becky pointed it out too. You might have it on there, but the planning ahead document, they release that in the first of every month. That's a good spot to see what's upcoming every month. So you can kind of pick and choose and kind of gauge. Like if you have those VIP groups, you can kind of post like a GIF, like Little Mermaid or whatever, and you can kind of see who's interested in who's in that. And then you have someone in your brain that you can go to when you know that's launching in 2 weeks or whatever. So that's recently been implemented. Hasn't always been around for us. So that's something that's fairly new. And I know that we really enjoy it. And now it has clickable links in there too. So you can kind of see things, but definitely utilizing that. That's under your news. That's when you click in your news tab or you're on the hamburger menu and click news, that's going to be the first thing that's always pinned. So if you want to see what's upcoming, that's a good one to look at.
Yeah, excellent point. Thanks, Becky, for bringing that up. And again, it's right there in the news tab, like Jamie said, and it's pinned. So it's the first thing in the news tab when you get to that page. And also in our group, Tara has been making kind of a very similar version. And she's been sharing it the last couple months, and she's actually been making a couple different versions. And one of them is like the planning ahead document that has all the important dates on it for launches and things like that. And then she's also added in a couple resources for content ideas. If you're looking for things to post, I don't know what to share, I don't know what to post, whatever it is, she's added those kinds of things too. So make sure you're checking that out, because listen, you guys, I get it. People are busy, we're busy, we don't always have something at the tip of our tongue or the top of our brain of what can I post today for my customers. But those calendars that Tara's been providing are super helpful, because it'll give you an idea of do Tip Tuesday or Motivational Monday or share the clearance section or whatever. And it just kind of sparks your brain to give you an idea of something to share. But it kind of stems from that planning ahead document where you can sit down and plan your month and kind of see where you want to focus your attention. Like Jamie said, if we're launching Little Mermaid, for example, you can kind of put some feelers out there so that you know specifically who you're going to talk to once you have the information for that launch, and you can really start marketing directly towards those people. Okay. Speaking of launches, having proper expectations during product launches is huge. And I will be honest with you guys, they are so much better, our LTO launches, than they were a couple years ago. When we were going through hypergrowth, we were selling out of products literally instantly. And it was very, very stressful. I mean, Jamie and I would sit in Facebook chat before the queue would start, and I'd be like, I can't feel my fingers. I'm so nervous right now. I have to get 6 of these, and I don't know if I'm going to get them. And people were missing out on products, and it was very rough, because due to the hypergrowth, the forecasting that Scentsy Home Office had done and the inventory that they had bought just wasn't enough. But based on past trends, it was fine. But because our growth had happened so quickly that we didn't have enough stock. And so things were selling out literally instantly. And so it was very difficult for quite a few months where, I mean, morale was low, okay? Because week after week we would have launches, and week after week people were missing out on products. And so we set the precedence in the group that you need to have realistic expectations. And you guys, it's still possible, right? We had this happen with the sunflower fragrance flowers and the poinsettia ones, and they weren't instant sellouts, but they were quick, right? And it's important for us as consultants to understand that there is a specific amount of inventory available to us, and the queue is random. It doesn't matter whether you get on at 12:56 or at 1:07. When that waiting room opens up, everybody is put in there randomly. Okay. Superstar direct do not have any kind of I will tell, it's freezing again. I have missed out on products for my customers as well. Okay. So there's no special treatment. There's no rhyme or reason. It is all random. But here's the thing that I just want to make sure that you guys that are on here know, and I know a lot of you have been through it already anyways, and I'm grateful because our group is amazing at keeping things positive. In the event that we have an LTO that we feel like is going to be a huge seller, like we did with Harry Potter and the Cinderella Castle and things like that, you need to know, number one, as a consultant, that there is a chance that products are going to sell out before you get your order in. So you have to know that, and you have to be okay with that and own that. As you are speaking with your customers and taking pre-orders, if you're doing that, or you're giving a link to your customers to order, you need to be relaying that information to them so that they know that it's a possibility as well. Okay. If you're taking pre-orders, I'm waiting for it to stop freezing again. Okay. The way that I typically will word it to my customers is, this is going to launch at 1:00 on Monday. I will be on as soon as it launches. I will do my very best. That.
Do you want me to say what I say, tell my customers?
Yeah, go ahead and do that.
So I kind of do it like Kim does. So when I text them, I say, this is launching on Monday at 1 p.m. I will try my best to get it for you. If I don't, I will refund you the money. Or if there's something else, here's another tip. Don't go back to them and say, hey, I couldn't get this. Say something along the lines of is there anything else I can get you that you've had your eye on or whatever? I can't get it for you at this time. I will keep an eye out for you and notify you if it comes back. But just set that realistic expectation and just say, hey, I'm going to try my best. I will be in there at 1:00 when it launches. If I don't get it, you will get your money back. I'm not going to keep that. So.
Yeah. All right. Hold on. I got to make that. Okay. So again, just setting a realistic expectation with your customers. Because you don't, then they're going to be upset, right? They put their faith in you. You said you were going to order something for them and then you didn't. And they don't understand why, right? They don't see the back behind the scenes like you. And so we don't want them to be upset with us. And we don't want that stress either. And so having realistic expectations and setting those realistic expectations with your customers is a total game changer. In 8 years and throughout all of the COVID hypergrowth inventory mess that we had, where we had instant sellouts, even the times where I was unable to get products for people, I have never once had someone upset about it. Disappointed, sure. And I've been disappointed too. But I've never had anyone get mad or angry at me because I let them know ahead of time that I was going to do my best, but I couldn't make a guarantee. And so it's a huge thing because I see in a lot of consultant groups, people will come on and they'll be like, my customers are so mad, or my downline is so mad because they couldn't get this product. And I'm not saying that it's not okay to feel the disappointment or the frustration when those kinds of things happen, but feel it, and then you have to let it go and move on. But you're not going to have to deal with as much influx of that from team members or consultants, or team members or customers, if you have that expectation set ahead of time. Okay. So like I said, things are a lot better now than they were during that COVID mess where literally things were selling out. Everything was selling out. But it still does happen. And so when we have something big that is, getting a lot of buzz, that's when I typically will make sure that I'm leading with that kind of disclaimer to my customers that I can't guarantee that I'm going to get it, but I'm going to try my best. And they're always super grateful. And I've never had anybody angry at me. Okay. So let's talk about, I only got about 7 more minutes, but I just kind of want to talk a little bit about this month specifically and what you should be focusing on this month as we get, again, we're at the beginning of a brand new year. January can sometimes feel a little bit sluggish at the beginning because people are still getting back into the swing of things. My kids just went back to school yesterday. So quite honestly, I just started working again yesterday. Like I was working my business over the break, but I wasn't sitting down and working every day. I was, hanging out with my family. It was vacation break. And so I'm just kind of getting back into the swing of things. And most people are. If their kids were home and they went back to school this week, most people are just starting to get back into their own routines. And so January can feel a little bit sluggish. Do not feel like you are doing anything wrong unless you're not doing anything at all. Do not feel like you're doing anything wrong if you're feeling a little bit sluggish. Okay. But you also have to understand that there are a lot of things we have going for us right now. We've got a great scent of the month and warmer of the month. That heart warmer is super adorable. It's perfect for right now because people can order it now, put it out with their Valentine's Day decor, and have it for Valentine's Day. The scent is really good if you haven't smelled it. It's not my favorite, but I do typically like sweeter fragrances, so I like that. It's a great price point, and it's really pretty. It is. I didn't get it. I didn't get the warmer kit just because I'm trying to scale back on my like seasonal type warmers. But it is a really pretty warmer. So you've got that to market. If you see someone in your Facebook feed that's decorating for Valentine's Day, share it with them. Even if they've never bought from you before. Be like, oh my God, I love your mantle. I have the perfect edition. You've got to see this. Right? It doesn't matter if they've bought from you before. If they decorate for Valentine's Day, share this Valentine's Day decor with them. Okay. Bring back my bar is always huge. Now I realize that as newer consultants, you might not have as many people that have ordered those before that you can reach out to. And I meant to do this earlier today and I didn't get a chance to, but I'm going to write myself a note. I'm going to try to find one of those. If you like this, then you'll like that graphics that we've had before where it'll say like, if you like, I'm going to say armpits, you'll like Simply Patchouli just because that's the one that comes to my mind. But you know what I'm saying? Like it'll say, if you like black raspberry vanilla, you might like whatever scent that's similar to that from Bring Back My Bar. Because since so many of these are older, a lot of your newer customers aren't even going to know what these fragrances are. And so if you can tie it to or compare it to something that they may have smelled that's a current fragrance, then they can go, oh, I do like that one. So I might order that and try that. And I haven't seen one, but I know somebody asked about it in the director page. So I'm going to go see if I can find it and I'll share it because that's a really great asset for you guys to share, especially if you don't have customers who have ordered any of these before. And I'll be quite honest, I worked on Bring Back My Bar reach outs today, and I usually have a pretty lengthy list of people who have ordered the scents before. And this time I only had 56 people. It was, they had ordered multiple scents, but I only had 56 people, which is significantly less than what I typically have. And at first I was like, really? This is weird. But then I looked at the list of fragrances, and I think it's because we're reaching deeper into the vault than we used to. Before they started implementing like it can't have been brought back in the last 2 years, it can't have been a Bring Back My Bar in the last 2 years, whatever it is, we're reaching back and we're getting fragrances that haven't been around for a long time. And so my customers, even in the last 8 years, haven't had an opportunity to order those, from me at least. So I didn't have as many to work with. But I'm going to find that graphic and I'm going to utilize that graphic too, because if I have somebody who typically orders fragrances that have earthy notes or whatever, I can send them those patchouli fragrances. Or if they like lavender, we've got a couple lavender fragrances. Or if they like bakery, we've got like whipped vanilla pear and toasted apple butter and toasted caramel sugar and caramel sugar cone. We got all of those. So if I say, oh, you like bakery, you need to try these. Okay. Put those suggestions out there. You can't just make the post about Bring Back My Bar is here, order your bars, because if people don't know what they want, they need your help. That's part of our job, is to help them figure out what they want. Mardi Gras, somebody mentioned. Who mentioned Mardi Gras? Amanda. Mardi Gras wax is amazing. One of my favorites. Which one is your favorite, Amanda? You can unmute or you can just put it in the chat. Either way.
I can only pick one. Probably the showers or the night.
Okay. I like Street Parade, I think. I think that's the one I like. It's purple, the lighter purple. But it is a really good, it's a good set, and I feel like it's a very versatile set. You know, like our Scentspirations or whatever that we had at Christmas time, it was Christmas Cottage, like they were all warm cinnamon. I mean, I know they were minty, there was mint and whatever, but they were very holiday-esque, right? I feel like Mardi Gras is very diverse. You've got a bakery, you've got a mint, you've got, I feel like Midnight Masquerade is more like a almost masculine, like fresh kind of scent. I feel like Street Parade is more fruity. What's the other one? King Cake. But yeah, I mean, it's very versatile. And like Jamie said, promote club, because these fragrances,
Cake's
Bring Back My
Bakery.
Bar and Mardi Gras, are only here for a certain amount of time. So if somebody finds something that they love, that's your in to start talking about Scentsy Club. Okay. And we're going to do a whole nother training on Scentsy Club too. Double half off hostess rewards. You guys, if you're not promoting double half off hostess rewards, you have 22 days left to party with people this month and get them double half off hostess rewards. I didn't have any parties on my books, and I didn't want to book too many because I'm going to be on vacation for the last week and a half of January, but I have 2 that I'm going to run next week. From people that I reached out to and said, hey, we can get you a diffuser for cheaper than normal because we have double half off hostess rewards. So instead of needing $350 party, you only need a $200 party to get your diffuser. So work that promo to your advantage too. And flip the hostesses when you're done partying with them. Flip them so that they can be your new team member. The join kit this month has the dryer sheets in it. Like, how, that's so unfair. It's so unfair. I want the dryer sheets. I want them.
I really hope that we get them at World Tour. I'm just putting it in the atmosphere that we get them at
I
World
hope
Tour.
so too.
I have a
Fingers
question.
Yes, ma'am.
If your party was started before January, are they still giving you the double host rewards?
Yeah. Typically this is the only one I think that works out that way. And I did check it because I have a party that's open that my hostess has been dragging her feet on redeeming her rewards. And so I texted her last week and I was like, hey, it worked out in your favor because I think her party was at like $290 and she's got 2 half price credits in there. So it is working for parties that were open prior to January 1st.
Okay, I just wanted to make sure because all of mine are showing the double, and I'm like, oh, I don't know if I should tell them that they're getting double or if
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
All
it is. And I know a lot of times they'll make it so that it has to be opened and closed because really the whole intent for these kinds of promotions is for you to get new parties, not to lengthen or, you know what I mean?
right.
But this one, I don't know if it's just because the way the system is set up that it automatically calculates it even if it's already been open. So yeah, if you have parties that are open or that were already open that are still open, they'll be eligible for it as long as you close them out before the end of the month.
All right.
So yeah, you guys, like, I'm out of time, but I just want to kind of wrap up really quickly. Really quickly. I don't even know if that's in my vocabulary, but anyway, consistency is 1,000 times more important and effective than perfection. Okay. Don't worry about whether your wording is just right. Don't worry about what you look like on a Facebook Live. I was going to talk about the post that I made last week that I said, what do you want to get better at? And my intent for that post wasn't specifically Scentsy, but I didn't say that. And so everybody answered Scentsy, which is totally fine because it was a Scentsy group. But a lot of people said, I'm nervous about going live. I'm nervous about posting pictures with my face in it. I'm worried about this, that, and the other thing. Stop. Okay. Because the people that you're sharing those things with already know what your face looks like. They already know what you sound like. Somebody said, I don't like the way I sound on a Facebook Live. I don't remember who it was. Those people already know what you sound like. And you don't sound as bad as you think you do. We all think that. I say the same thing. We all think that we sound terrible. We all think that we look terrible. But listen, you're sharing pictures of yourself on your family vacation. What's the difference between sharing your face on family vacation and sharing your face with a fragrance flower in the picture? Nothing. They already know what you look like. They already know what you sound like. Don't overthink it. Okay? And I promise you that once you go live once, you're going to see it's not a big deal. God's honest truth, I practiced my first live video 5 times before I did it. I recorded myself 5 times. And you know what my first live video was? Bring back my bar sniffs. So I sniffed 25 bars 5 times in my kitchen by myself before I posted it, or before I actually went live and did it. Like, I wasted so much time. And once you get on, and honestly, you guys, going live is way easier than recording a video. Because when you go live, people know you. They know that you're not perfect. They know that you're going to make mistakes and say words wrong and whatever. It's fine. They don't care. We care way more about what we look like, sound like, whatever, than anybody else does. Okay, so you just have to tell yourself, I can do this. It's not that big a deal. My friends love me already. It doesn't matter, right? You got to get over your fear and just do it. And I promise you, once you do it, you're going to be like, that was not a big deal. Consistency is 1,000 times more important than perfection. Don't try to be perfect. You're not perfect. None of us are, and no one expects you to be perfect. If you do something every day for your business, it's better than thinking about doing something for 5 days and then doing something on the 5th day. Just do something every day. Okay. Celebrate your wins. You know what? I was feeling a little bit down on myself yesterday for the Valentine's Day launch because I thought I was going to sell the heck out of those fragrance flower bouquets, because I have a lot of customers that buy fragrance flowers. I thought I was going to sell a ton of them. I sold 3. And I was like, I really thought I was going to have more than that. And then I went, no, wait a second. I sold 3 fragrance flower bouquets. Like, celebrate every single win, whether it's 1 bar of wax, whether it's a dang light bulb, whether it's a fragrance flower bouquet or a buddy or a 6-pack, it doesn't matter. Someone is buying something from you that you have shared. That's a win. Okay. Don't get down on yourself. Don't think that it's not enough, or I could have done better, or I could have done more, because you will suffocate yourself if you think that way. All right. Don't compare your journey to anybody else's. I've been here 8 years. My customer base is way different than yours if you just started. So please don't think that you should be reaching for the same goals and the same PRV and the same all of the things as I am, because I'm in a different place. Okay. Your success is what you define your success as, and mine is what I define my success as, and they're not going to be the same. Take this business one day at a time. Don't necessarily worry about what you're going to do next week or next month or whatever. Take it one day at a time. And I'm not saying don't look ahead and don't plan ahead, but really take it one day at a time. And the last thing that I want to say is, I know that a lot of people say, I don't have time to post every day. I'm busy. I have a job. I have kids. I have this, that, and the other thing. Listen, I do too. Okay. I'm rarely ever home. And you need to commit to your business whenever you can. Okay. If it's 30 minutes on Sunday night after the kids go to bed, and you sit down and you schedule a whole week's worth of posts in your VIP group, guess what? You got a whole week's worth of work done in 30 minutes. Now, that doesn't mean that you don't show up for your business the rest of the week, but you know that you've got the bulk of that done. And then you can go into your group and you can communicate with those people. You can answer questions, or you can reply to comments, right? But you don't have to be on 24/7. But it's up to you to figure out when you have those pockets of time so that you can make the most out of the little pieces of time that you have, because none of us have a bunch of extra time. Nobody is sitting around on their thumbs going, gosh, I wish I had more to do in the day. Why are there so many hours? I need more things to do. Nobody's saying that. We are all extremely busy. But if you commit to getting the work done, you will see progress. So take it one day at a time. Don't compare yourself to anyone else. Celebrate your wins and stay consistent. Jamie said, just keep showing up. Okay. Even if you don't have a picture with your face in it tomorrow, post something in your VIP group. It doesn't have to be Scentsy related. It can be asking people what they're making for dinner. You guys, people love to talk about themselves. Ask them what they're making for dinner. Okay, I guarantee you're going to get a bunch of comments. It's going to help your algorithm. It's going to keep your engagement up. And it didn't take a whole lot of thought. Okay, don't overthink it. This business is not difficult. Okay, you have to put in the work, but it's not hard. It's not difficult. You just have to be willing to do it. And I promise you that if you stick with the basics and you don't overthink things, you're going to feel so much better at the end of the day about what you got done, because you're going to actually have gotten something done instead of getting up in your head about it. Okay. So with that, that's all I've got. I actually have more, but I'm not going to go there because we have 11 more months of the year that we can talk about all of the things that I have written down. But again, I appreciate you guys being here. I know that a lot of this was very preliminary or very beginner-esque, but I think it's important for us to remember, because especially after a super busy holiday season, when like things are crazy and things are busy and everything's happening, and then you kind of feel like the world stops a little bit, like the Scentsy world stops, like where did all my customers go? They were celebrating Christmas and they are also hungover from the holidays. So we all need to kind of, reentry is hard, friends. Reentry is hard. And again, if you show up every day and you work your business in some way or another every day, and you communicate and connect with your people, I won't even say your customers, just your people every day, you're going to see growth. And don't let anything overwhelm you, because it's not, it doesn't have to be that way, right? You're the only one that can make yourself overwhelmed, right? It's up to you. You have to like condition your brain to be like, okay, I know Kim shared 17 posts in the group today, but I need a minute, right? It's okay. All right, you guys. So thanks again for hopping on. I know I went over as usual. And if you have topic ideas that you want us to focus on, let me know. I am working on a list for the year, one training a month, but we can squeeze other trainings in there. Like if somebody wants to talk about something specific, we can do that. And I am always willing to do a Zoom for those of you guys who are willing to show up for it. I don't care if it's 1 or 2 people. Jamie and I both have said, like, I will talk to one person. If one person wants to come and hear what we have to say, we will do a training for one person. It doesn't matter to me. So if you have ideas or things that you want, that you would like to see a training on, let us know, because if we don't feel comfortable doing it, I will find somebody who will come in and talk to us about it. I have topics that I want to get trained on, so I'm going to find people that are going to come in and talk so that I can learn as well. But thank you guys for hopping on. I appreciate you taking an hour and 12 minutes out of your day to share with us and to learn and to listen to me ramble. And I hope that you have a great rest of the month. We've got lots of time left. So if you're feeling, like I said at the beginning, if you're feeling a little bit sluggish, it's okay. Don't give up. Don't sit in that. Make the effort to make something happen. And we're going to have a good rest of the month. And World Tour is coming up in February. So if you're going to Detroit Novi, I will see you there. And if you're not, then we're the first weekend, I think. So you'll get to see everything that they're going to share when you get there. All right, you guys, thanks again for hopping on. I hope that you have a great rest of your night, and reach out to us if you need anything, okay? All right, talk to you soon. Bye.